Okay, if you're sitting there right now, maybe you've got like 20 different tabs open, and you're feeling totally paralyzed by all the information, this is for you. We're going to cut through all that noise and build a real system, one that's backed by data for finding products that actually sell. It's time to move away from all the guesswork and into making smart, strategic choices. All right, let's get into it.
This right here, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? So many people get trapped in this exact cycle. You find a product, you throw it up on a store, hope for the best, and then crickets. You start wondering why you're not making any sales. And the hard truth is, that's a strategy built on hope. And, well, hope is not a business plan.
So that's the real question, isn't it? If just guessing and hoping is a losing game, then what's the alternative? The answer is you have to build a system, a repeatable framework that has strict rules and actual checkpoints for validation. And that is exactly what we're going to walk through right now. So before we even think about searching for products, we have to build our foundation. And that foundation starts with 3, let's call them non-negotiable rules. Seriously, think of these as the ultimate gatekeepers. No product even gets a look unless it passes these 3 tests first.
And just so we're crystal clear, these are not suggestions. They're not nice-to-haves. For this system to actually work, every single product has to pass these tests. No exceptions. This is where we take all of our emotions, all of our gut feelings, and we put them on the shelf. We're focusing purely on logic and data.
All right, so here they are, the 3 pillars of our system. First, the product has to solve a real, tangible problem for someone. Second, it's got to have that wow factor. You know what I mean? It has to be something that makes a person literally stop scrolling. Maybe it's a super unique design, a clever function, or it's just so satisfying to watch in a video. And third, and this is the big one, it absolutely must meet our profit margin.
Let's just zoom in on this number for a second, because honestly, it's the most important one on the screen. The rule is dead simple. If you can't sell a product for at least 2.5 times what it cost you to get it, you walk away. Instantly. End of story. Why? Because without that margin, you've got zero room for marketing, no money for ads, and basically no way to build a real profitable business.
Okay, so we've got our rules. Now, where in the world do we actually find products that meet these criteria? Well, this brings us to the fun part, the active research phase. I like to call it mining for digital gold, and it's a 2-part process. The whole philosophy here is simple, but it is so powerful. We are going to stop trying to be trendsetters. We're not trying to predict the future. Instead, we're going to become digital detectives. Our job isn't to guess what people might want. It's to find cold, hard evidence of what they are already getting excited about.
And our 2 main tools for this detective work, TikTok and Google Trends. Think of it like a 1-2 punch. TikTok is where you find that initial spark. You see what's going viral right now. But, and this is key, we don't stop there. We take that little spark of an idea over to Google Trends to see if it's a real fire. Is this a sustainable trend in a growing niche, or is it just some flash in the pan that's going to be gone next week?
So here's what that looks like in practice. You spot a trend, you find out who's already crushing it with that product, and then you validate that the whole niche has long-term potential. But listen, there's a really crucial point here. All the viral videos and clever ads in the world don't mean a thing if the customer lands on your product page and gets confused or isn't convinced. That page is the final battleground. It's where the sale is actually won or lost.
Okay, so you've found it. You've got a potential winner. It passed all your rules, it passed your research. Now, before you go all in and buy a bunch of inventory, it is time for the final step, validation. And the best part is, we're going to do this with a really simple, super low-risk test.
We call this the spin test, and really it's just a simple, super cheap ad experiment designed to do one thing, get real-world data. This step is so critical because it takes our own opinions and our own biases completely out of the equation. We let the market, actual customers with real money, tell us if we have a winner on our hands.
And the best part, the absolute best part, is all you need to risk is $10. That's it. For the price of a couple of coffees, you can get enough real data to decide whether you should scale a product up or just cut it loose and move on. This tiny test makes failure cheap, and more importantly, it makes learning incredibly fast. Now, this might be the most counterintuitive part of this whole strategy, so listen close. When we set up this $10 test, we don't target specific interests or ages or any of that. We go broad. Why? Because we're letting Meta's incredibly powerful AI do the heavy lifting. We let it analyze a huge pool of people and find the perfect customer for us. The results are simple. If that $10 gets you, say, 5 add to carts, that's a huge green light. If it gets you nothing, well, the data has spoken. You move on. No emotion.
You know, when you follow this entire process, from setting the rules to doing the research to running the test, it's really more than just a set of tactics you're following. It represents a fundamental shift in your entire mindset.
This slide right here really just captures that whole shift perfectly. The gambler, they're running on emotion, right? They're guessing, they're hoping they get a lucky break. But the business owner, they operate on data. They follow a system, they run tests, and they make their decisions based on cold, hard evidence, not a hunch.
And of course, we have to be realistic. Even with a perfect system, success is not going to happen overnight. You're still going to face some hurdles. This whole process takes consistency. It takes the resilience to keep testing, especially when a product or 2 or 5 don't work out. But that's all part of building a real sustainable business.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. If a system like the one we just walked through can pretty much replace all the guesswork by giving you real data, what's the final barrier? What's the one thing that's really standing between you and building a successful store? Ultimately, it's going to come down to your willingness to actually do the work and take consistent action.